What's up, guys? My name is Livy. Welcome to the first real YouTube video. The last one I posted was just pretty much gameplay, nothing special there. Today we're going to be talking about the meta inside of Brawl Stars right now, after the most recent balance changes like a week or so ago. I have a tier list of all of the brawlers right now that I think are the best in the game and the worst. Cover some solid options of brawlers to pick in ranked mostly, and you can obviously pick some of the best ones to push in ladder if you're trying to push in ladder. First, we're going to talk about the S tier, which is pretty much just brawlers that are either insta-bans or should be the first pick depending on the map. And I'll do a more in-depth guide on when to pick what brawler on what map in the future, but for now, we're just going to go over how good the brawler is in the game. And these couple brawlers in the S tier definitely deserve being in the S tier, the best tier. So starting off with the S tier, we have the best brawler in the game, even though she got nerfed. It's Mina. Mina is the best brawler in the game right now. She just puts out too much damage. She's too quick. She's too mobile. She has too much team wiping capabilities. And she just got a new hypercharge, which is, it's not broken, but obviously it's a buff to the brawler. And that sort of cancels out the nerf that she got. Obviously, she's not as good as she was before the nerf, but I still think she's a must ban. If you're not first pick, you have to be banning Mina. 100%. There's like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 maps in ranked right now where you don't have to ban Mina, but just to be safe, like, you should be banning Mina every single time. I would say next in the S tier, I'll just quickly go over Kaze. She's been so good for so long. She also has team wiping capabilities. She's also super quick. She's just an overall good brawler on most maps inside of ranked, and really most maps inside of Brawl Stars right now. Then we have Jaeyoung, who is arguably the best support brawler inside the game right now. I think Jaeyoung is usually banned in most knockout or bounty maps, just because he can get to the blue star quickly, he has the healing, and he has the damage, and what's slept on is the slow gadget. It's really good into the right matchups. But overall, he's just like a really strong brawler. You can also play him sometimes in hot zone and gem grab. It just depends on the team. But he's just a flexible brawler, and you can't ever really go wrong with Jaeyoung. Okay, next I'm going to quickly talk about Ashe, who I'm not sold on being S tier, so don't flame me too much in the comments. I'm kind of just like, I'm not sold yet. He recently got a buff, that's why I have him in S tier. He got a buff last week in the balance changes, and I think with the right comp, he's super hard to beat. He's played in most Brawl Ball and Gem Grab maps right now in ranked, and is occasionally played in Hot Zone. But I think with the right comp, like if you have a good Ashe game, it is really hard to beat. And I know you can say that about a lot of the brawlers. Maybe he belongs to the A tier, but I don't know. I just think he's really good right now. Cordelius is obviously still in the S tier. He got a nerf to his damage star power last week. It's not a big enough nerf to go down in the ranks, in my opinion. I think Cordelius has just been like one of the best answers to any aggression, and aggression is the meta right now. So if there's any answer to that, Cordelius has that ability to shut aggression down. He's also able to be picked in a lot of maps, any maps with walls, really any mode too. He's able to be a strong pick in most maps, most scenarios. Up next, we have the second best brawler, in my opinion, in the game right now. Right behind Mina, we have Meeple, which might be a shock to a lot of people. She didn't get buffed in the most recent balance changes, but she did get a hypercharge. And the hypercharge, I don't know how long it stays on the map for, but with maps with walls, she is like a top 3 gem carrier right now. And she just puts out so much damage, and the ability for her teammates to be pretty much invincible, like they have their own shade super, being inside of a wall, it's just too much. Like the enemy team has to treat it like a lose super. And so it's instant control with the box gadget. There's so many good combinations you can have with Meeple, whether it's Meeple Hank, you trap someone with the Hank bubble, or Meeple Shade, or Meeple Thrower. There's just too much versatility with Meeple right now and her box gadget. And then, since she has a low reload speed, if you're playing against aggression, you can always go the other gadget. Like if you're playing into a Mortis or something else aggressive, the stun gadget is also really good for Meeple. I also think Meeple's gadgets can be interchangeable. Like it's very rare that brawlers have interchangeable gadgets. This is the first tier list I've ever made. Don't flame me too hard in the comments. I do think the brawlers in the S tier deserve to be where they're at, as they are either banned all the time or picked all the time in most of the modes or maps in ranked right now. Okay, moving into the A tier, we have brawlers that are the best in their respective maps or modes. These brawlers could be the best brawler on the map, but since they're just the best on that map, that's why they're not included in the S tier. Now, you could argue that some of these brawlers belong in the S tier and some belong in the B tier, but I thought this would be an appropriate category for the brawlers that are in it. Okay, most of these brawlers in the A tier have been here for a while, but I do want to talk about 3 of them specifically that are new and improved in my opinion, and they are Pam, Max, and Nani. I'm not 100% on Pam being new and improved. Obviously, yes, she got a hypercharge, she is improved, but I don't know if she belongs 100% in the A tier yet. I have her here because I have faith. Pam has been bad for so long that I think she deserves a spot in the A tier, and I'm all for support brawlers being meta. But I think she might be slept on in modes where support is necessary. Since Pam's new hypercharge allows so much more HP to be brought into the team, I think I can see her being picked a lot in the future in hot zone specifically. Just because if there's no wall break or thrower or something to take care of her turret, once she gets a hypercharge turret down, it's going to be very hard to get kills on the enemy team. Next, we have Max in the A tier. She just got a buff to where she gets her hypercharge faster, and she seems really strong in a lot of current ranked maps right now. Similarly to Ruffs, who's been very strong for a while because he's been able to give a free hypercharge to someone on his team who usually has a broken hypercharge. Max can do the same thing and give them a bunch of speed, which is always good for control and aggression. So that's why I think she is in the A tier. I'm more set on Max being in the A tier than Pam, just because I think there is more versatility with Max when it comes to different maps and modes. Whereas Pam, I see her only as really good in hot zone, maybe some gem grab maps, probably not. Next we have Nani, who I am very glad she finally got buffed. Nani has been bad for so long. It's just hard to hit her shot sometimes. She hasn't had a great spot in the meta, but she got a damage buff, which is huge. A damage buff is always great, especially for marksmen and especially for enjoyers of marksmen like myself. She's one of the best brawlers again in bounty and knockout, and I am very happy about it. She does get overlooked a lot. If you're good at playing Nani, if you hit 2 shots, you're killing someone, which is a crazy advantage if you're playing bounty or knockout, which you should be. If you're playing Nani, you should be playing in a bounty and knockout. I do think she's at the top of her game in those 2 modes. Then we have the brawlers in the A tier like Byron, Otis, Sphinx, Ruffs, Willow, Buster, Kit, and Lily, who've been strong for a while, and a couple of them have received nerfs recently, but not strong enough nerfs to wipe them from the meta. Also, we have Juju. Juju got a hypercharge, which is huge. It is so annoying to deal with that she is back probably in the top, I want to say 2 throwers right now in the game, maybe 3, but she's just back in her top form. There was a period of time where Juju was the best brawler in the game, and she's definitely not there, but I think she's found a good spot in the A tier now that she has her own hypercharge. Juju's able to hold her own now against aggressive comps, because if you're playing against aggressive comps, you're going to get that hypercharge, and that hypercharge is just too annoying for other teams to deal with. We also still have Mo in the A tier, and I can understand if people think he belongs in the B tier, but I think if you're really good at Mo, he does belong in the A tier, so I'm slightly biased there. We have Shade, who even though he does less damage now after the hypercharge nerf for all brawlers, I still think he's a really good last pick or aggro brawler. We have Ollie, who just got a big rework to his hypercharge, making him so he can't jump over walls. He's not OP now, but I still think he's a really good tank if you know how to play Ollie. Finally, we have Jean, who has just been a top bounty knockout brawler for I don't know how long. Again, similar to Jae Young, we've got the healing, we've got the range, we've got the game-changing pulls. Jean just has been so stable and so consistent when it comes to bounty and knockout drafts. Next, we have B tier, which, as you can see, has lots of brawlers in it. So I'll just kind of gloss over. There are good brawlers in the B tier, don't get me wrong, but they're not good enough to be banned all the time or to be picked first. There's also brawlers that I'm not certain about, like Ziggy, who just came out, but I think there's potential there, and he just got a hypercharge. I don't know the best term to categorize this tier, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to call this tier the role-playing tier, as each brawler can fill a specific role that could complete a team composition. They're not brawlers that you can just pick freely and expect to win consistently. First, we have Amber, decent, or not even decent, a really good lane on most hot zone maps, I guess. Just the ability to have oil on the grounds that is like a mini Lu super pretty much, because it prevents people from walking on it. And you can obviously punish them if they do. She is playable in some other maps, but she mostly thrives in hot zone. Next, we have Barley, who I think is in the top 3 throwers. I really like Barley, especially in hot zone. Being able to heal your teammates while they're continuously shooting is huge. Just that aspect of maintaining control is what makes Barley good right now in meta, specifically in Dueling Beetles. But you can also play him in Heist and things like that. He's a pretty versatile thrower in my opinion. Next, we have B, who is a great sharpshooter, really just in, I guess, hot zone. Some Brawl Ball maps, she's really good at keeping control and being able to put that damage out there if you're good at B. Next, you have Draco, who got a nerf, but it feels like it never even happened after scrimmaging for the past week or so. Like, you could say that Draco belongs in the A tier, and I would be perfectly fine with that. All right, next we have Sam, who just received a buff, which is kind of small to notice, but I do think that he has potential. I'm not just saying that because Rafiki is my teammate. I'm saying that because I think if people played more Sam, they would realize that he is better than most people think. Next, we have Belle and Brock, who are 2 great sharpshooters, obviously. Thrive in Bounty and Knockout. They've just been decent. They've been good marksmen, and that's why I have them in the B tier. I just changed BB from B tier to C tier. She's pretty mid. She stays in C tier. Okay, next we have Janet, who I think just really thrives in gem grab. She's like probably the best gem carrier, just because you're able to escape any aggression with her jump gadget or super, and that is just what makes her the best gem carrier. Next we have Buzz, who I think is indirectly buffed because Ash got buffed in the most recent balance change, and Buzz does counter Ash. So you'll see that pattern throughout the list of brawlers that got buffed means that the brawlers that counter the buffed brawlers also got an indirect buff. That's what Buzz is. Buzz is a perfect example of that. Really good in gem grab once you get the hyper. Same with Brawl Ball, same with Heist. He's just pretty versatile and I think slept on a little bit. We have Crow, who's been at the top for I don't know how long. Just like you can always count on Crow. There's not a whole lot to say. Obviously, he's hypercharged for Heists, the control in Hot Zone, some Brawl Ball maps. We have Eve, who I think is good in Out in the Open, which is in Ranked, and Safe Zone, and Kaboom Canyon. Those are like the 3 maps you're playing Eve on. And Bridge Too Far, 4 maps. You have Lou, only thrives in Hot Zone. Just obviously, Lou Super. We have Mortis, who has a really high ceiling, but only a couple of people can ever get there. Penny received a buff. That's why I have her in B tier. She would be in C tier if I made this video like a month ago. But I think that since her turret got a buff, it's a very slight buff, don't get me wrong. But it got a buff to the point where I think she's just a little bit more annoying than she used to be. Piper, I don't think she got changed at all. She's just, I mean, I wish Piper was better. Poco, don't like playing Poco. Like I said, this is the role-playing brawlers, so I think like if you're picking Poco, you're picking it for a good cause, hopefully. Rico, my boy, nothing really to say much about Rico. I mean, yeah, he's just good where he's good at. Same with Sandy. I think Sandy's a little bit slept on. Sandy does counter some of the better brawlers in my opinion, and the super, it's one of the best supers in the game. We have Meg, who is just kind of Meg, you know? It's just Meg. Not anything else to say. Squeak, role-playing brawler. Stu, role-playing brawlers. Tara got a nerf. She probably would have been an A tier if I made this a while ago. But it does, you can definitely feel the nerf. It does take her a little bit longer to get that super. Tick, we have Gus, another good marksman. Gray, good in the modes that he's good in. Same with Mandy. RT, you could argue RT belongs in C tier. I feel like RT recently, even after he got his hypercharge, like if you're picking RT, you're picking him for his hyper, which just to me doesn't mean that the brawler is that good right now. Charlie, it's just like a standard, you know, safe pick on most Brawl Ball, Hot Zone, sometimes gem grab maps. Larry got a hypercharge, but I don't think his hypercharge is that good to the point where I think he belongs in that top 3 thrower list. But yeah, I mean, like, he's good in some scenarios, but I wouldn't say he's top 3 thrower. Angelo, another great marksman. Melody, good in Heist, and that's about it. Barry, same sort of thing about Larry, except you're playing him with tanks. Kenji got a really big rework to his hypercharge where he doesn't TP to where his super goes. I think it was a perfect change. It did make him a lot worse. He would be an S tier if I made this a while ago. But I think Kenji had been too good for too long. And I'm not saying he's bad anymore, but it does take a more skilled player to be good at Kenji, which is what I would much rather prefer. Ali, who just got a hypercharge. I don't even know what the Ali hypercharge does, but I've scrimmaged, and every time someone goes Ali against me, I lose. If you figure out how to play Ali, you can win your ranked games pretty easily. Trunk, I'm really enjoying playing Trunk, but I think he's slept on. I think after watching people play him at LCQ, he is one of the best like aggression lanes that there are right now, especially on bushy maps. He's just so fast. It's like a permanent max speed in the bushes. We have Ziggy, who maybe belongs in the C tier. I'm a little bit biased. I've really been enjoying Ziggy, and now that he got his hypercharge, I think I'm squeezing him in the B tier. And I don't know how good he will be. I do think he could be a good last pick in ranked if you're really trying to play Ziggy. I don't know what maps. Probably Hot Zone. Maybe some Gem Grab maps. We have Gale, who got a buff. I just think there are better options. Like, if you're picking Gale, you're countering tanks. And I just think there are better tank counters above him in the tier list. And that kind of wraps it up for the B tier. Like I said, role-playing brawlers. None of them are bad. There's usually a better option. They fit their roles respectively. You just have to know when to pick those roles. Next, we have the C tier, which are the bad brawlers. None of these brawlers, besides Chuck, who is like top 3 in heist, don't get me wrong. But just because he's top 3 in heist, he doesn't belong in B tier. He's bad everywhere else. But as I was saying, the rest of the brawlers in the C tier, like is always a better option to pick. Unless you're really good at Dynamite like me, you can last pick him on a lot of maps. And then obviously we have F tier. You could say I hate Maisie. I really love Mr. P. I don't know why he got nerfed. He was already kind of mid. We could put Mr. P in the C tier if we wanted to, but it doesn't really change much. Just better options than Mr. P. Only time you'd ever be playing Mr. P is if you're into like 3 single shot brawlers on layer cake or something, which that just doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean, these brawlers you're never really picking. Rose has been bad for I don't know how long. Shelly's been bad for I don't know how long. If it's an open map and you're playing against 3 tanks, sure, play Clancy. But you're never, that's not happening in ranked. At least it shouldn't. But that's the tier list. If you want to see a more in-depth like list and on when to pick specific brawlers in ranked, let me know. I can do that as well. This is just a pro's perspective on the current meta as of what's today, November 8th. I did get a couple of other pros' opinions on this list, and for the most part, they all kind of agreed. There are some brawlers that are interchangeable between the S and A tier and some of the A and B tiers, but for the most part, I think this is a pretty good list. If you have any questions, feel free to comment those as well. I would love to answer any quick questions. You can also join my Discord server. It'll be in the description. I'm pretty active in that. If you have any more questions, I can answer a lot more relating to the tier list or relating to something else in Brawl Stars. I can answer it. Let me know what other content you want to see in the future. I know this is it's a different one. This is the first time for me. If you made it this far in the video, comment Dynamite is the best brawler, and that way I know who the real ones are. And also, if you made it this far, it truly does mean a lot. I am very thankful for you. Thank you guys for watching. I'm hoping to ramp up the content still. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.